In episode 1, I'll make a fire using a flint and steel. It's my favorite way to start a fire. It's just a fun thing to do. It's harder than using a match, but I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned. We need to build a base for our fire because it's all covered with ice and snow, and we don't want that to melt and put our fire out. So let's get started. Here's our base for our fire to keep it up off the wet snow and ice until it gets hot enough to sustain itself. The key to the flint and steel fire is making sure you're prepared before you even strike the flint. I'm sure you've all heard it's all in the preparation. Here we've got the finest stuff we can find, and all I did was go around and gather some dead branches and just take the very tips of them off. Makes great kindling. Then we got pencil-sized wood ready to go. From there we'll make some bigger fuel wood to keep our fire going. And this is about the size I would use for fuel wood, about the size of your finger. This wood is cedar, burns really well. You can get most of your kindling from one branch. All your fine stuff is right at the very tips. You don't have to do a lot of axe work to get your fire started. You can pretty much snap it off, and if it's not snapping off, that means it's too green. You don't want it anyway. You want wood that's going to snap right off. It's nice and dry and ready to burn. Start your flint and steel fire with a nice bird's nest, and this is cedar bark. And what we do is we just crunch it up. Try and get it to look as hairy as possible. That's what's going to catch a spark. And start our fire. Here is some cedar bark I've had inside, so I know it's really dry. And this is what I'm going to have right next to my ember when I get it going. And that should catch easiest of everything. We'll put that right in our other cedar bark that's been outside for a while. It's a little bit damp. But we'll put our dry stuff right in there. This is what we're going to light on fire, our char cloth. This is just a little snooze tin that I've put all kinds of char cloth in the bottom. A little piece of birch bark to separate it from the other things in my kit. And here's our flint with a nice sharp edge on one side. And there's our little steel striker we're going to use to get a spark. And here's some jute. You can do the same thing with this jute as we're doing with the cedar bark. You can just uncurl it and make a little bird's nest with that if you don't have anything else. What we'll do is take a piece of this char cloth, rip it off. You don't need a ton of it. You do want nice fuzzy edges to maximize the chance of catching a spark. So what we're going to do is put it on the edge of our flint, and let's see if we can get a spark. And already we have a spark. Created an ember. I don't know if you can see that, but what we do now is we put it into our little bird's nest, kind of wrap it around, and then we gently blow on it till we can get it into a flame. We have flame. Okay, now I've put my bird's nest on our raised bed of wood. Now we're going to add some fine tinder to it. Here's our fines. Get that fire going. Give it some oxygen. Some more twigs on there. We gotta give it some air. It's starting to go. I'm not going to rush it. As long as I can see flame, I'm going to let it work on its own, dry itself out. The flame went out, so I'm going to blow a little more. The more we have a flame, it'll dry itself out. Any of our tinder any of our kindling that's damp, it'll slowly dry itself out and be able to sustain itself. Once this pile of fine stuff gets going, we'll add our thicker stuff, our pencil-sized wood. Some of the smaller stuff we can put right on right now. Get it drying out and burning. Piece of bark. This wood's pretty damp. It's been outside. It's taken a while to take off on its own here, but it is burning. Keep adding our small wood. What could be more fun than starting a fire? Put some of our bigger stuff around the outside, let it dry. Well, the main part of the fire is getting going. We'll keep adding. Keep adding to it. All from the tree branch. You don't need to use an axe any more than you have to, especially if you're not familiar with an axe. They're inherently dangerous. So just use a flimsy old tree branch to get your fire going. In my next video, episode 2, I'll show you how to make char cloth using a tin can,